Evening all. I hope everybody's happy out there in Steelerland. Evening Jonas. Good to have you here with us. Let's start up. If you're watching, say hello in chat as always. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed. You probably all are though at this point. At least if you're watching this, I would hope so. Anyway, and tonight is another night of a bit of chatting and painting. Evening, Steve. Good to have you on board. How are you doing? I've got some stuff to do tonight. So basically, I thought tonight what I'll do is I'll do some preparation for some of these Soviet figures. Who we got? James, evening. Terry, evening. Lee, evening. Good evening, everybody. I hope you're all got something to paint. Evening, Andy P. Good to have you on board. If you've got something to paint, let me know what you're painting in the chat as always. And obviously throw any questions or anything you have in there, any comments. Quite a few of you are watching at the moment, so just give us a shout if you're out there and what you're doing. Like I said, tonight this is the second company of Soviets that I've finished. I actually finished them off earlier on, so they're completed. These are for O Group. So I've got 3 to work through. So these are the other ones from the Flames of War box set, the Rifle Company box set that they do. So I'm just working my way through. I don't know if I've got enough small bases actually though to do the next one. I'm waiting for war bases set to come through. Set of these things. Nice fields. Oh, cheers Lee. Yeah, they're just drying. They're just sat over there behind me. Evening, Andy. Good to have you on board. I have done a video about those type of fields, which I will put together as a what we call it, a tutorial on those. But I want to do the other fields as well, the one with the ploughed fields as well. So I'm going to make both of those. Either make them into one long video or 2 separate ones. I'm not sure yet. It might be 2 to stretch it out. What you painted there, Steve? More salamanders for the Kings of War. So I've finished those. That's, like I said, second company. I'm going to have a look. Evening, Kevin. Good to have you on board. I'm going to have a look, see if I've got enough actual small bases for the third company. If I haven't, let's have a look. 1, 2... I need 9. You watch, you probably haven't got enough. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. No. 8. I've got 8 in total. Andy says you're doing some Germans. 15, 10 and 6 mil. Right, trying to settle on the scale. Right, so I haven't got enough bases to do the next company, so I'm going to have to wait until the war bases things come through. But that's not going to stop me, because what I'm going to do is if I find out exactly how many figures I need for that third company, I can then put them separately to one side. I can stick them in here in the bag with these. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of work this out first of all, and then I'm going to go to get. Then I will do some other bits. So like it's going to be the company commanders and the support weapons and stuff. So once I know how many of these actual figures I'm going to need for the base, I can go from there. What are we all saying? Battlebunk says, hi Steve, taking the plunge in order new Kings of War book. Recently bought 10mm 3D miniatures. Okay. You're putting together Ross and Heroics and Ross HE59 seaplane for Bag the Hun. Excellent. Biplanes are 50 in 1. Yeah, they're very fiddly. That's why I got mine 3D printed, but it'd be easier. James says you are a bit of basing, better painting, couple of Germans HW bases, a few militia for the African wars, odds and sods. Basically procrastinating putting together some kits. He's not in the mood for glue tonight. That's fair enough. That is fair enough. Steve says waiting to put in an order for war bases as I need some more wound dials, but they seem to have been out of stock for a couple of weeks. Okay. And Rich says planning a base for a semi-detached house in Oosterbeek. Left it a bit late. Oh dear. Evening Charles from SoCal. Good to have you on board. Had an interesting discussion on Twitter this afternoonish, this evening about reviews and how old should review, how new should a set of rules? Like, it was kind of a rhetorical question on my part, but it's should you do reviews of old rules and things? Because there's, I've got quite a few games, oldish games that have been around for a long time, and it's like, should I do a review of them? Should you only do modern new stuff? As I say, a bit of a rhetorical question. You can do what you want, really, can't you, in a hobby? But interesting answers. Most people were just saying yes. And I think apart from the stuff that's kind of like completely impossible to get hold of, even then you can just do like a nostalgic look at them, I would think. I think that kind of works. You're paying a 28mm Fallschirmjäger 8cm mortar thing for a painting challenge. OCP, just like 30 core. Battle Bunker, Richard's, you want to have a look on Twitter, on Richard's Twitter, those roads he's doing, they're fantastic. Embossed plastic card by the looks of things, they look really good. Nice one, you ordered the book and the card set. Rules never go out of date, it's very true. You can still play them even if they're the latest cool thing. Yeah, it's very true. Mechanics, I suppose they don't go out of date, but you can always update stuff, can't you, even if you don't like the mechanic of a rule, because there's quite a few things. Having played a lot of your Lardy games, Rich, I very much like the mechanics that are the base of those, and the stuff that you could add it into other sets of rules quite easily, because I don't like move, fire kind of actions in a turn. I like to have it a bit more mixed up. And I was thinking there's stuff like Blucher, where it has a very strict movement then firing phase. It doesn't really matter, you can do it any one or the other. What you're saying, there's value in reviewing older rule sets to enjoy and play, and to be honest with you, modern reproductions, there's not much that's lost to history. That is true. Evening, Richard, good to have you on board. I was thinking about painting some of your French tanks tonight, but I decided I'm trying to push on with these Soviets and get these done out of the way. This is my big task at the moment. But yeah, I guess the other thing as well with reviewing stuff is, Rich kind of said it, if you haven't got anything nice to say, don't say anything, which is fair enough. But I also think as well, sometimes with rules, I don't know, is it okay to be critical of stuff? And I mean negatively critical as well as positive? Should you? Because I've done a couple of reviews that I've got sitting, and I don't know whether to release them. I'm still a bit in two minds about it, simply because I don't know if I've been too negative, but I've also been positive about other bits of it. Like there's some things, I think there's some rules I probably wouldn't say anything about, because I've got nothing that I could say anything positive about. But I don't know, but then people kind of want to see that stuff, don't they, as well? People like reviews. Definitely worth reviewing old rules with some new people coming to the hobby. It helps with this. Yeah, that was kind of my thought, really. It's a kind of... There's always somebody who's never played the game, isn't there, at the end of the day? You're watching Steve's Battle Reports. There are always new rules to somebody, even if you may never have heard of them before. So I don't know. I might have a look at some of the rules reviews that I've done, and then maybe sack those off and do some other ones where I'm a bit more positive about stuff, but I can still be critical. Things like Tales from Shed HQ evening. Just switched on Celtic Frost. Excellent. Keep Celtic Frost on. Which album? That's the most important thing. As long as it's the first two albums, definitely keep it on. I think the and should a review be also like a bit of an advertisement as well for rules? Should you be telling people why you like them? Nothing wrong with comparing styles or saying, look, this is fun, but it's much of its time. Simply say, not my cup of tea. Yeah, that's true. You can quite easily. It's kind of been sitting on me because I've had these reviews sat in me to release pile for a while, and I kind of daren't, because I don't want to upset the rule writer, and I don't want to upset people that like those rules. But I did try, you know, I tried to find positives in the ones that I did. I'm not going to tell you which ones they are, just in case I never release them. Observations are not negative by definition, but no rules are rubbish. They just don't suit some people. Lines crossed when a review says these are bad. Yeah, that's true. I suppose that's true. It's but then, what if rules are rubbish? What makes a rubbish rules? You know, that's the thing. Where we at? Battle Funky says, I think being open and honest about everything after it's your view when reviewing an item, people can... Yeah, that's the other thing as well, isn't it? I mean, it's always going to be subjective. You know, one's man meat is another man's poison. Evening, Ken. Good to have you on board. Evening, Thomas. Working on French concrete utility poles for foreground. Excellent. Excellent. Love a bit of that. Hope you enjoy them. It's a bit rough and ready. Don't have to laptop PCs on my phone. Hey, as long as you're putting out battle reports, Steve, it don't matter. It don't matter how rough and ready they are. It's always good to have more of that stuff. Get more stuff on YouTube from a wargaming sense that isn't 40k as well. Not that there's anything wrong with people making 40k stuff, but I just think it's probably better to do a bit of to get a bit of choice out there. Evening to Ken. Evening, John. Good to have you on board. Into the Pandemonium. Excellent. Classic album. On a Mexican radio. That'll probably only mean something to a few people. I tell you what's good is there's a fantastic version of Into the Crypts of Raids on a German TV show where half the audience don't even know what the hell's going on. That's worth watching. Brilliant. And it's my favourite song as well. I know it's not Into the Pandemonium. It's not on Into the Pandemonium, but you know it's close. So anyway, there's 25 people watching at the moment. So hit that like button and say hello in the chat. Tell me what you're all painting or what you're doing, if you're doing anything. So yeah, I might have a rethink about the reviews that I've done, because I think I don't know if I was unnecessarily harsh, but I might do some other ones on other games as well. That I do like, but you know, I've things that I've also probably got a couple of issues with here and there, and that's always only fair, isn't it? But then, if you do something too good, somebody did say some green lung. So I did the review of Strength and Honour, and I really like Strength and Honour. I mean, it's not my period, but I think it's a really good, innovative rule set. And somebody said this is just like an advert. Well, you know, I can't help it if I like it. What can I do? You know, I wasn't paid to say it. Rich, good evening. Good to have you on board. So like I said, tonight at the moment, so what I'm doing, we had a game of Ogre the other day. I went over to see the Barnsley Wargamers over at Neil's house, and we had a game of Ogre. We played the Christo. We only got a few turns into it, because it was kind of like a learning game for them as much as anything else, really. But it was good fun. It was very good fun. Who are we on? Andy says, you carry on painting MTBs from Cruel Seas. Okay. And Doug, evening, good to have you on board. World War II British Airborne. Can't remember the rule set. Bolt action, perhaps. You'll never be able to please everyone. Well, yeah, I know, that's the problem, isn't it? You really can't please everybody, no matter what you do or what you say. And I think the hobby will sustain itself, even if I say a rule set is crap. I think there'll be plenty of other people that'd still buy it, isn't there? I think that's the bottom line. You never, I don't know, you just never really want to. You never want to. I don't know, dunk on things, really, because we are a hobby at the end of the day, like. You'll never be able to please everyone. Don't tell anyone I'm paying 10 mil. Bloody hell, Ken. Wow. Your review of O Group helped sell it to me. Well, Richard's actually in the chat at the moment, so you can tell him that, and then you can tell him that I want some revenue off that. So there you go. That's for you, Richard. Right at you. You like Little War's marking system, but everything is subjective in the end. Yeah, of course it is. Again, I like it. God knows how they've come to it. Come to the maths in it, because it's way beyond my ken. But yeah, I quite like it, the fact that they weight it differently. You've recently gone on a old group rabbit hole. Good, excellent. Bollocks. Right, well, that's my monetization gone, isn't it? So you owe me for that as well. And likewise, NDP. See, there you go. Three sets of rules there sold to you through me, Rich. And what do I get for it? Nothing. I just get him turning up and swearing on my chat. I wish I'd never interviewed you now. I'll teach you. Right, so anyway, back to the real world. As I say, yeah, I'm just kind of sorting these lads out at the moment, so I'm not going to clean them up or anything. I just want to see how many bits and pieces I've got left. And a great editorial in 120 about choices of the hobby being greater than ever, something for everyone. Absolutely, yeah, 100% agree with that. It really is. We are literally in a golden age of wargaming, aren't we? You know, compared to what it was 20 years ago even. It's almost every niche is covered, and if not, you'd find some rules that are pretty similar enough to cover a niche. I completely agree with that. I do like his columns in WSS magazine. I read them in his voice. I get accused of being paid by Warlord. I'm like, I'm not. But if they're watching, I can't be. Yeah, that's the thing. It's easy to. Oh, Tim, it's nice to have you on board, Tim. Yeah, it's easy to get shown to be seen as a shill for certain companies, isn't it? Yeah, I don't. The only money I make off this is off advertising in my Patreon. Occasionally people will send me stuff for free to review and things, but you know that's not going to be hardly going to pay the rents, is it? Yeah. You know, at the end of the day, you know, we all like something, so you wanna show it off, don't you? You want to talk about it. I think that's what it comes down to, isn't it? Yeah, your group. Evening, Tim. Other Tim. 2 Tims in tonight. Yeah, I think it's just you know, you want to talk about the stuff that you like, really. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. Again, it's a hobby, you know. Painting Brits for your group tonight, another one, and hopefully playing 7 Days to the River Rhine this weekend. Some Cold War action in 15mm. But yeah, that's got some pretty good reviews. I'm not that we've talked about it before. I'm not that interested in Cold War stuff. Just doesn't really float my boat. You know, but I'd happily play it if somebody came along with a load of rules and figures and stuff. But it's not a particular period I'm interested in. But yeah, the 7 Days to River Rhine and the Cold War Commander are getting quite good, quite a lot of traction at the moment, aren't they? I think. Right. Okay. So that's the figures for the final company. So when the war bases, other bases turn up, I'm just going to mark on these what they are, so I'll remember. 3rd CO. Again, your AT guns propped with old group 3D prints, and excellent. What are they? 10mm, Rich? I'm assuming so. I think all your stuff's 10mm, isn't it, for old group? Right. So I've got them. So what I want to do now is like the company commanders. So that's going to be these fellas here with the pistols. I do like this box set. It's pretty good, and it's done a Soviet battalion 4U group, and it was about, I think it was about 20-30 quid. Everything. I've even got all the only things it doesn't have, I think, are some of the bits and pieces like the battalion mortars, but you don't even need those anyway. You bought cock. I ain't been shot. None have yet to old group after viewing Alex's videos. Good stuff. I always enjoy listening to people talk about their hobby, no matter what they do. Yeah, exactly my line, Alex. Whatever you bring, I'll play. Yeah, I'm the same as that. Cold War Commanders, Big Grimsby weekend in 3 weeks. Okay, excellent stuff. So I'm assuming that's after Partisan, is it? Partisan's in a fortnight, is it? Can't remember. A mate was telling me the other day what day it was, and I've forgotten. Well, that's my memory. So with my company commanders, I'm mounting these on 2p pieces, just so I can spot them easy on the table. Normally everything's on a square base for me, but I just like to make them a bit different. So these I'll get done, and I can get these done and out of the way then. So they won't take long. Soviets don't take long at all to paint. Somebody had painted some in contrast paints. Who was it? John, not John Savage, Mike, something I can't remember. He was over on Twitter, and he'd done these Soviets, and they were the same ones I'm painting at the moment, the Battlefront ones. They look fantastic, and they're all done in contrast. Now I know that's probably sending Ken into a flat spin right now as we speak, but they did look really good. Who's going to partisan? I'm going to partisan. My hand's up in the air. There you go. Yorkshire Gamer. He's gone quiet, but now he's back again. Upsetting him with contrast paints. Yes, I'm going to partisan, Lee. Make yourself known to me. I'll be wandering about, filming it. I'll come and say hello. It should be a good show. It's always a good show, Partisan. I think it's probably my favourite of all the ones in the UK, or the ones that I go to at least. It just seems like it's a really good atmosphere. You're looking forward to it. Best show in the UK for your money. There you go. Blocked and deleted. He tried your Storm Steel dice out on Saturday at the club. Shall we say, I think I've been swum up. She was not pleased. Hey, the kid didn't come with any guarantees, Steve. It's not my problem. You got them for free. What more do you want? And he's going to the Partisan. Good stuff. Yeah, you will. Good stuff. Excellent. And yes, how are you putting on a game? James is going. Sounds like everybody's going. The whole family will be there. It'll be a big old family affair when we get together. Excellent. There you go. Let's put that one of these fellas on as well. Why do Wargames companies always make their heavy weapons with 3 crew, and then why do Too Fat Lardy's rules always make their heavy weapons with 5 crew? What's that about? Yeah, you think they'd talk, wouldn't you? They'd shout to each other. But it's like it's one of those things, isn't it? It's the unwritten law, isn't it, that your heavy weapons always has 3 crew. Anti-tank guns always have 3 crew. It blew my mind when I first saw 5 crew in Chain of Command. Oh no, it was in IMB Shotmob. That was the first one I played. I thought, why have they got 5 crew? Oh, mine have got 3. Finally able to catch a stream. Excellent. Heard you talk a little about Dux Britanniarum. Do you recommend it? How does it play compared to Sharp Practice? It plays differently. I've only played it a couple of times and at Virtual Lard with Jeremy. I've not played it in real life, but I played it. Played a good couple of games of it. And it's really good. It's similar in Sharp Practice in that it's card driven, but there are other things like you get fake cards and things like that, and they again kind of do special things for your side, whichever it is. I definitely recommend them, 100%. I did buy them, and I got to confess that I did actually sell them on, and that's not because of the rules. That's just because I'm not particularly interested in that period. I bought them halfway through playing them because I was enjoying it so much. But then I kind of got the cold light of day made me realise the Dark Ages is not really. I'm interested in it from an archaeological point of view, and not from a wargaming point of view. And that's absolutely nothing to do with the rules themselves, because they're very good. And there's a really good campaign system in them as well, which is a really nice way of developing your army. So, like in Sharp Practice, well, not in Sharp Practice, but you basically every time you win, you get to add add more figures to your army basically as it goes along, and I really like that. It's a really well thought out campaign system, and again it's all mixed in with the rules, so you don't have to buy too much. So yes, I'd say 100% get them. They're very good. There's also a later Dark Ages version in one of the Too Fat Lardies specials. I can't remember which one. Rich will probably be able to tell you. Where were we at? Sorry, went off on a tangent. RP are pretty clean, but Old Glory, big burrs. Okay. Evening gents, evening Igor Penetrenko. Got some Zved's 172nd stuff coming. Their guns come with 2 crew. Yeah, you're gonna need to get some AB minis to add to the crew. Yeah. Well, the good thing with 172nd is you can get loads of plastic, can't you? And they're dead cheap. Just got home from work, Tim. Good, I'm glad. It's a late day. Terry says he loves ducks. Can be used for many other periods as with historical tweaks. Yeah, exactly. Yorkshire says he had a brilliant time at Clotted Lard. I ain't been shot on a low group. Excellent, good stuff. That's fantastic. You're kidding, I can't remember where I live. That's true. Well, if you do a search online, ignoring that, if you do a search online, have a look at, just look for the Too Fat Lardies specials index, and it's an Excel file that somebody's created. I can't remember who it is, and you can filter it by rule system, so you can find exactly which special any particular rules are in. It's a really nice. It's updated every year whenever a new special comes out. So just do a Google search for that, you'll find it. Talking of ducks, did you ever see the second part? Did I ever film the second part of the introductory videos? Here's the thing, Yorkshire Gamer, thanks for continually mentioning Pro Art brushes on your pod, mate. Finally got around to picking some up, and they're phenomenal for money. Yes, it's time to carry on with your ducks introduction, Rich. Pro Art should be paying you commission. Indeed, they should. Yeah, I got a load from ADC's paints on your recommendation, Ken, and I think they are fantastic. They're really good brushes. So thanks for that, Ken. And you do bang on about them a lot, which is not a problem. If you like something, you like it. They forced me to buy Saxons, Brits and Picts in 50mm when those were period considered. Pleased that you did. There you go. Perfect. Yeah, that was the thing. I had a handful of Vikings. I didn't have anything else, and I just kind of, it was a case of I just thought, right, I could get more Second World War stuff, or I could get some of this stuff that I'm only kind of half interested in. But still, they're very good rules, and Jeremy always puts on a good game. I've seen a couple of his games at the Lardy the Lardy days, not Lard Workshop, but he was at Ebor Lard last year and this year, or the other year, and his games look fantastic, really good, and very enjoyed by everybody as well. That's the other thing. He's a big fan of those. Ken, I think Richard from Too Fat Lardies gave Alex the same answer you get from Pro Art. Ken Hart, Rosemary and Cole in Yorkshire. I think they are, aren't they? Pro Arts, they are. Is that what we're talking about? Pro Arts in Yorkshire. So that's the only reason that Ken uses them. Right, I've been realising I'm running out of PVA glue and also out of polyfiller, so I'm going to need to make a trip over to Wilco at some point. I'm not sure. Any emu battle reports in the near future? I'll refer you to the same answer that Richard gave earlier. They're just sat in their box. Actually, I need to give those to Tom Davis. He's got into the old the Emus Wars. Next time I see him, I'll give them to him. You can have those. Because no, I don't think I'm going to do them. Just give that a good old mix up. Where we at? Rosemary Cohen in Cowling, about 6 miles from Pro-Art and Skipton. Oh, there you go. It's a different brush companies. Hello from the hot and humid Virginia. Good to have you on board, Richard. Working on some 10mm fencing for some Anglo-Saxon buildings. Evening, Simon. Good to have you on board. Your wargaming discipline is impressive. If I read a rule set, I'm sold on getting into a new period. Rose closing that place over ill. Yeah, I kind of I got to a point where I know what I like. Do you know what I mean? When it comes to wargaming, I'm happy to play pretty much any game, even fantasy. Dare I say it? But when it comes to actually collecting it and things, I don't really suffer from that shiny, the shiny situation that, you know, a lot of people get driven into new periods and things. I'm not that fussed because I know what I'm interested in, and for me, primarily, wargaming is about history. So if I'm not interested in the history of a period, I can't muster any interest in it from a wargaming point of view, if that makes sense. And I am interested, you know, I'm interested in all history because I'm an archaeologist, but I'm not that interested in the particular conflicts of those times, of ancient times. So yeah, that's kind of how I keep the discipline going, I guess. Well, bloody hell, slow down, everybody. I knew nothing about Dark Age until I heard about ducks. Okay. War bases order arrived. Time to finish those 15mm Germans. Brilliant. Good stuff. You're safe. Paul, good evening. You love researching ducks. A very, very different process as it involved archaeology and hagiography rather than just history. Great fun, yeah. Not much Dark Age concrete. No, there really isn't. I don't know. The Romans had concrete. So, you know, late Roman period. Yeah, it lends itself perfectly, doesn't it? That period that Ducks covers, it lends itself very much to the almost to a mythical, historical period, because very little was written down. But then you say that, and I mean, you know, Dark Age is quite an old term these days. Us professionals would call it the early Middle Ages or the early medieval, and you know, it wasn't really, in inverted commas, Dark Ages. There was quite a lot of civilization that was just kind of bollocksed up by the classicists in the 19th century. But yeah, it's certainly an interesting period from a historical point of view, but just not one that floats me well from a wargaming point of view. It's a great system indeed. Can you play all group with just pure tank platoons? Yeah, you can. There's rules for armour platoons. Personally, I think it would probably slow the game down a little bit because each tank is an individual thing. I mean, it's meant to be an infantry game, but you could do it. I just don't know how particularly interesting. I don't know if Richard's tried it or not, but I don't know. I might try it out one day just for a video, just to see how it goes. I just kind of feel it may slow down a little bit because the rules for tanks are slightly more complex than the I say complex. I mean in as complex as O Group is for its core rules. You know, it's if the complexity comes in making decisions based on your orders, not on the complexity of firing and things, if that makes sense. Sorry, I'm just concentrating on this, so my mind's wandering. So yeah, you can. Yeah, there is a suggestion. The main rules how. I think the Normandy's book some more on it. There is not in Normandy, but there is. Dave has hinted that there's going to be it in the Eastern Front one, the Kursk part of it. He mentioned that, I think, on the Plastic Crack podcast when he was on there. So I think there's going to be at least one scenario which is going to be very tank heavy, which I'd be very happy to try. Like I say, part of me thinks it might slow down a bit, but I could be wrong. You say you wouldn't do tanks only, yeah. You think it was almost... Yeah, I think the World War II was almost tanks only, never only tanks only. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's the... you're always going to have infantry in support of tanks, even at places like Kursk and things, where there was a lot of tanks. There was still infantry supporting them. You never fight on their own. It's combined arms. Let's have a look. Sorry guys, I'm losing the chat. 1 minute. Can you play a Wargaming Gadfly, but having to boil it down to a limited number of systems now? It's got a bit much. That's fair enough. It's mythical. So much is dark. You get to mould your own story around Arthur. Yeah, exactly. That's what makes a historical period interesting to you from a wargame perspective. I don't know. Developments of tactics, development of things. I know that happens in most wars, you could argue. But I'm interested. I've always been interested in the Second World War since I was a nipper, and I was always interested in the Napoleonic War since I was a nipper. So that's kind of really where that comes from. And First World War, I've always been interested in that as well since school really. But then I went on and did a masters in it, so that's why I'm interested in it from a historical point of view. So that's kind of where it comes from. There's a suggestion on the main rules how think more blah blah. Oh, we got there. Think of the Kursk. You wouldn't do tanks only. Yes, we know that. Evening, Little Legions. Good telling you what. Isn't it called the Dark Ages due to the climate at the time? Massively evolved. No, it isn't. It's called the Dark Ages because classicists, classical scholars, basically ignored it because it was the fall of the Roman. It was after the fall of the Roman Empire, and as far as the early classical scholars, we're talking like the 19th century classical scholars, and they thought that there was no development, and that basically Europe fell into this period of decline, where actually it didn't. Art and expression and everything that comes with civilization flourished. It was just seen as this period of not being as clever as the Romans, basically, which is absolute bollocks in a short answer. Tanks are like one or two sections of infantry. Yeah, exactly. You should always have something supporting. You won't have tanks for long, exactly, because you get Panzerschrecks coming up behind your bum. Thinking joining What a Tanker at CrackCon 3. Yeah, that'll be good fun. Andy's game. That'll be good. It's a good game, isn't it? What a Tanker. I want to play more of it myself. It's good fun. It's the Airfix generation thing. Yeah, I'm just slightly older than the Airfix generation, John. No, slightly younger. Sorry, not older, younger. But I still played with Airfix figures when I was a kid. I'm at that wargaming period of Games Workshop just starting to take off. But I was never really into it because I was always interested in Second World War and Napoleonics. But I had to play Warhammer because nobody else would play Second World War or Napoleonics with me. Bastards. What Tanker is quite good for tank skirmishes. Yeah, exactly. That's what it's written for, isn't it? I know there's some extra rules for infantry in one of the specials, but I've not used them. I've not played much of... I need to play more of What a Tanker. It's a good laugh. It's a good club game, I think. Panzerschrecks vs Kursk. Yeah, I know. They're later. I know. Yeah, don't worry about that. I was just talking about, in general, later war. Panzerschrecks coming up your bum. Right, so there's quite a few flamethrower guys in this set. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a couple of them individually based, and I'm going to do some of them in groups. Oh, I've just found another one. Have we got enough? Oh, look at that. Would you know it? I've actually got enough small bases to do the full platoon. Right. Everything gets reversed. Excellent. Let me put these away. I'm going to do the full platoon now. ATR, yeah, exactly. An anti-tank rifle up your bum's going to hurt as well, for sure. Where we at? Yorkshire Gamer said something, but retracted it. How often did tanks engage with our infantry in World War Two? Not very often. When I play with an infantry platoon and a tank platoon versus the same, tanks bugger off when infantry retreats. Yeah, very much so. I mean, you need your infantry around them to protect them. It's the way they work. So the Operation Goodwood and Epsom that the British were fighting just after Normandy, after the landings, they got quite a pasting because they weren't operating together properly. They weren't doing the combined arms, which is ridiculous because Britain invented the tank, or at least was the first one to use it on the battlefield. 37 people are watching, only 21 likes. Hit that like button, folks, and if you are not subscribed to the channel, do subscribe, please. It's nice to have you on board. Do you know what's happening with What a Cowboy? Thinking of adopting it for Sweeney stuff. What a geezer. I don't, but Richard will tell you, I'm fairly sure. Last I heard from John was that he was looking at a summer release, but obviously that's not happened, so I'm guessing it's in the works, I think. No, actually, I'm not going to do that because... Sorry, I keep changing my mind. I've only got these Flames of War plastic bases. I want them all the same as the War Bases ones for the entire platoon. So I'm going to stick with my previous idea of just messing about with these. And I'll wait for the other ones. That's why the Germans lost. Ferdinand lost so many at Kursk. Yeah. There you go, Richard does know. That's one for a lot of the events. Yeah, I'd like to do the What a Cowboy, but I'm going to adapt it for Judge Dredd. Don't tell Richard, though, in case he's listening. What do you say? It's all been written, going through final playtest before proofreading. Excellent. There you go, you heard it here. Second or third. So I'm sure he's probably told people that before. But there you go. You all know. Right, so I'm going to do some of these anti-tank rifles as individual units, I think. Could always do some commissars, couldn't I? You'd love Jewish Dread. Yeah, I was thinking what you could do is you could combine it with the plot points that you get in Pulp Alley. Where they basically you kind of it's the thing that moves the story on. And I know you guys are Battle Bunker. You guys play Pulp Alley, don't you? I mean, I've not played it, but I've heard lots of good stuff about it. In particular, those kind of things, the plot points and stuff like that. But yeah, I've got the Warlord Judge Dredd game, and it's okay. You know, I just think it's okay. Here we go again with those reviews. It's fun, but I think it just needs a little bit more meat to it. Almost too late, Dom? Never too late. No, you're fine. You're fine. I'm here for a while. Don't worry. It must be because you guys weren't putting out your podcast yesterday that I've got so many viewers tonight. So I'm going to thank you for it. If that's the reason, I don't know. Well, I'm going to thank you anyway. Yeah, Pulp Alley is a great narrative game. There you go. How many figures would Judge Dredd have? You probably only need a couple of judges, and then I don't know, maybe a maximum of 10 perps. I would have thought. Depends on what the perps are, whether they're like Juves or if you have better like punks and stuff, you might have a handful really. So you wouldn't have a huge amount. We use a similar system of plot points with sharp practice. Yeah, I can imagine it working well for that. I do keep meaning to buy Pulp Alley just for, like I say, for those rules. I watched some of the battle reports as well that they put out. They always look like good fun, and it's stuff like you could do. I could do Call of Cthulhu or Arkham Horror kind of stuff with it as well. You know the down at the club they always take the piss out of me if I'm playing fantasy or I'm not playing fantasy. We were playing Arkham Horror the other day. The lads were going, "Oh, you're playing fantasy?" Alex said, "No, it's historical, actually, as it happens." Did I pay Ken to get you to cancel? Yeah. I just sent him a load of figures. He's going to sell them on eBay. Flashing blades would work better. Oh, okay, fair enough. I mean, I don't know enough, but then is there much fire combat in flashing blades? Because I mean, Jewish Dread is just basically a western anyway, isn't it? With Lawmasters. I've not actually played Flashing Blades, so I don't really know anything about it apart from what I've just seen. WLG says they're coming out with more faction figures soon. Okay. We're all jonesing for some Wargaming live stream. Excellent. Well, I'm glad to have drawn you all in. It's a very adaptable system. Yeah, I know you said before as well, Nearly, where you can get different sets of cards and stuff for different periods and things. Nice MDF, lack of foresight. Good to have you on board, buddy. These are I'm working on a Soviet platoon, Soviet battalion for O Group. So at the moment I'm just kind of sorting stuff out, ready for. I'm just doing some of the support weapons at the moment. So some 30mm mortars here, and I've got some flamethrowers as well, which I'm doing. I'm waiting for some more MDF bases so I can finish off the rest of the company. That's where I'm at. Not much fire, but the activation system is a bit more superhero. Okay. So you could probably quite easily just add some firing rules into it then, couldn't you? Bit more comic booky. That's probably what you want in it for a Jewish Dread kind of thing. Again, I haven't played Water Cowboy, so I'm only assuming that it would possibly work for it. You know, I just thought because Jewish Dread is basically, like I say, it's a western set in the 22nd century. I just thought it might work from that point of view. There you go. Been told. But yeah, it must be interesting from your point of view, Rich, to see when other people adapt to your rules for other things, because it's a thing, isn't it, with wargamers. As soon as anybody gets a set of rules, it's like as soon as they say, right, we're bringing out a set of rules for the Second World War. Can you use them in the Maurabolian Wars? Can I use this for War of Jenkins Ear? Ah, nice. I really have to try your group at some point, but awesome. Happy hobbying. Cheers, buddy. Thanks to you. What are you painting tonight? That's the question. Hit the like button. There you go. That's what you're painting tonight. The like button. Paint it red. So yes. Here we go. Right, I'm going to do a flamethrower team. So I'm just going to add a few extra fellas in here, rifles and things, to protect the flamethrower fella. And then when I've got all these done, I'll probably give them. I like people adapting stuff. I think they produce some really interesting ideas. Yeah, it's like taking your basic idea, isn't it, and then just running with it. And wargamers are very adept at adapting. It's like house ruling stuff, isn't it? I mean, it's very rare. Most people end up house ruling something. No, I generally house rule stuff because I can't remember the actual rules, but that's a different story. By the way, folks, I know there's quite a few people in here that have got their own channels. Put a link in the chat. I don't know, just spread the word around. I don't mind about it. Spam it up. Get your channels out there for the people that don't know about them. Thought about using COG for skirmish games for ACW and AWI. Yeah, the command dice would work very well, wouldn't they? Often better than your ideas. Way too many grenadiers. Picked up a box of plastic soldier company early war grenadiers. Excellent. Threw 3 platoons together. And max strength for Stalingrad. Excellent. And I like Stalingrad a lot. Needed to take a break though, and so you were streaming. I finally got a chance to hop and check it out. Good stuff. Good to have you on board. Glad you're here. Looking for advice on what system to use for Boxer Rebellion skirmish, small battle system. Is there adaptation of sharp practice? Does anyone know? I'm not aware of one. What about Through the Mud and Blood? That might be just at about the right period. Boxer Rebellion's late 19th century, isn't it? So it'd be bolt-action rifles rather than muskets. But then you could have muskets in there as well quite easily. Just take the rules from sharp practice, I would have thought. You know, the firing chart of a musket firing chart. I think that would work. Use the Starship Troopers rules to a Star Wars game. Excellent. Yeah, well, I'd use Chain of Command to do Star Wars games. I did have Legion. I've got Legion, but I much prefer Chain of Command for Star Wars. Because again, it's World War II, isn't it, basically? World War II with white armour. Let's do some ATRs as well. Annoyingly, these are the bendy plastic though that Battlefront did a few years ago, so the barrels are all bent on these on the ATRs, annoyingly, but they'll be all right. I'll get over it. 1900. There you go. Yeah. So yeah, Through the Mud and Blood would probably work on, to be honest, because I mean it's kind of like a sharp practice in many ways anyway. Card activations, and you use leaders, but you have command initiatives that you add to the leaders, so it's different enough not to be sharp practice, but similar enough that, you know, it's not difficult to work it out. Evening, heard you talking about Judge Dredd. Have you tried the Warlord rules? Yes, I did, Rich. I got them because I got the box set when it first came out. Blood and Steel could work. Yes, potentially. Yeah, they as I was saying earlier, I think they're only okay. It's an enjoyable game. It's a good knockabout game. I think for the way I like games is where you can't do everything that you want to do, and in that one you kind of do, because you pull chits out of the bag, but there's no end of turn chit, so you just keep pulling chits out until the turn ends, so everybody gets a move. The kind of thing I don't like about it is the fact that everything gets a chance to move at some point. So if I were to go back to it and play it again, I'd add in a bit of friction in like a, you know, like a tiffin card or a end of turn card or something that you pull out. That's what I'd do. That's what I would do. Thinking of Blood and Steel. Wood might be good too. I was thinking of Men Who Would Be Kings, but it might be too simple. They'd work, but we played them recently, and again, it's that case of everything can do something unless it doesn't activate, but everything gets a chance at activating. We played through Men Who Would Be King with the sharp practice tokens, and did it that way. So it wasn't an I go you go, and it worked really well, and it made the game a hell of a lot better. But it's very simplistic, so things move quick. It's a good club game, I think, and easy to pick up, and we had it pretty quickly as well. What about using the Spanish Civil War rules? Is it World of Flame? My mates got them, and we played them once. They're a bit old schoolish, but they were fun. But he likes them a lot because he likes the old school feel to them. We played them, but yeah, they were fun. But I couldn't tell you anything about them. Evening, Andy. Sorry you're late. Signing with Matron. She'll give you a spanking. Don't worry about being late, mate. The fact that you're here is good enough. And hit that like button. There's 4 of you who haven't liked it. Or maybe you haven't liked it. Or hit the dislike button. Whichever. Doesn't matter. Just hit a button. Any button. Trying to work out what units to put with these. And put some... that's the one. World of Flame. Yeah. It's... like I say, yeah, I can't really remember. We played it ages ago. I think it's a card activation system, because my great uncle fought as he was a commissar in the International Brigade in the Spanish Civil War, and he and my mate put a card in specifically for him to come up, which was a nice touch because I didn't know it was going to happen. Dislike is gone. Oh, free spanking. You're late too. Disgusting. That's demonetised this. So yeah, I really can't remember how it played at all. It was such a long time ago. But yeah, it might be worthwhile having a look at. Some of those Osprey games are good. I think sometimes, like everything, I think, well, house rule it, don't you? If there's bits you don't like, that's the way it always goes. You were late, we got no spanking. You were just in before the spanking came in, Dom, unfortunately. ATRs. Do some SMGs maybe, I'm not sure the bases are representing no group exactly. It's like a section of them, so it'd be a few of them basically. That's what they're meant to be. So probably between about 8 and 10 men with a couple of anti-tank rifles kicking about in there, I would have thought. Painting hobbits, painting tons of Canadians has driven you to it. Not a fan of the Canadians. Well, Canadians for what? First, Second World War? Something else? The Canadian War? Ah, this is good fun, this. If you saw our measures, you won't not spanking. Fair enough. So then it's more of a threat for you. Right, so I'm going to stick in some of these. I was going to probably hold on to some of these SMG guys and turn them into SMG platoons, but I don't think I've got enough to do it. So I might just have to buy a few extra SMG figures and turn those specifically into platoons for all group for SMGs. Oh, let's have a look. Canadians. Oh, it's the 40k stuff. Fair enough. Where we are? Okay then. Definitely sniper rifle. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. What is what a bootlegger in the works? John seems to be working on it because he can't leave well alone. World War II for O Group Rapid Fire. Anyone going to Tiger Day at Bovington? No, I'm not. I'd like to. I've never been to Tank Day. The Tank Fest, isn't it? It's called. I've never been, so I'd like to go. One day I will. I've been to Bovington. I've been to Bovington a couple of times, but just not on the day they get the big vehicles out. It'd make a good report for the channel, wouldn't it? Oh, okay. Cheers, buddy. Email your mailing address. I can post you some of my. Send me an email. Lack of foresight. At stormofsteelwargaming@gmail.com, or one word, stormofsteelwargaming. Just send me an email through, and I'll reply to you. Thank you very much. You're a good man. Or woman. I don't know if you're a man or a woman. Currently gluing together avant-post 28mm 30 years war crosshairs. I always get confused when people use acronyms. I always have to think about it. I shouldn't have to at this point. I should know these things. It took me a second there. You nearly threw me, Andy. But then, of course, that's your thing, innit? What time are we on? 8:30. Let's have a little look. We're doing a few more of these, I think. Just wondering how many flamethrower teams have I got there? I've got 1, 2. If I do at least one more, and then I can have a rethink about it, because I'm not really basing these. Like, brilliant. Cheers, buddy. I'm not really thinking about how these are going to go together just yet. So if I do a bunch of them, I like to use everything in a box if I can. I don't like stuff going spare. So same with the German heavy supports that I did. I just did every single one of them because they'll probably get used at some point. And it also means then your lead mounting is down a little bit. Right, let's just do these. And then what I'm going to do is I'll do one more set because I've got that other base there. So I'll do A 30mm mortar, another ATR. I'll do one more ATR and then a section, and then I've got the 30mm mortars as well. So, and I'll base these up, and I think I'll call it a night, because these will have to wait overnight anyway to dry, and then you'll be free of this nonsense. Where we are? Did they ever do a Wargaming show at the Tank Museum? I know the National World War II Museum in New Orleans was a venue for the show. Yeah, I went to New Orleans, and then when we were driving away from it, I realised there was the National World War II Museum there, and I never went. Gutted. There are 8 pieces, including the horse, so they may break DOMs too many pieces for a Wargames model rule. Weird shit. I think they do a model show at Bovington. Yeah, I think I've heard that. No Tiny. I know, unfortunately. I don't know where she is. I think she's downstairs sleeping somewhere. She's kicking about downstairs somewhere. So yeah, no clickbait, I'm afraid. Yeah, they did pre-COVID Hotel again. There used to be a Wargame show at Bovington. Was it Battle Group South or something? The Bovington one? Because I think they had Battle Group North for up at Elvington. And I went to that a couple of times. It was quite small. I thought it was okay, but yeah, it was quite small. The Rapid Fire guys were there with some big games. There was a really good, interesting game. The last time I went, and it was a you were basically a tank commander, and it was a 1/35th scale tank, and the enemy tanks, it was like set in one piece is enough. Cheers, buddy. Email sent. And it was and basically the enemy tanks rolled into view, and you weren't sure what they are. They were always Tigers, but they had 1/72nd scale tank or 50mm scale tanks to show how far away they were, and as they got closer, the scale of them got bigger. But you had to identify them. It was a really interesting little game. I didn't play it, but I just saw them playing it. It looked really good. Not seen a show at the Tank Museum. There used to be a show at Beverley Armour Transport Museum, which we put games on. Was that Battle Group North? No, because that was at Elvington, Battle Group North. Email sent. Thank you. Our piece is enough. Hordes of horrible sticky-fingered kids. National World War II Museum is good. Yeah, I can imagine. Some interesting interactive. Good food nearby as well. Yeah, well, it is New Orleans. We ended up going down the bayous instead. So yeah, I wasn't allowed to go. No, I remember afterwards looking at it and realising afterwards that we'd been so close to it. Is it something to do with thingy? Stephen Ambrose? Hasn't he had a hand in the National Museum? For good or for ill? State your fingers covered in super glue means I agree with you, Dom. That's nice what they've done though. Well, you know what you do with super glue, don't you? You put a dab of it onto a little piece of plastic, and then you get a little pointy stick, and then you dab that in the end of the plastic, and then you dab that onto the thing. That's how you do super glue. There you go. You come for the tips. Come for the ATRs and stay for the tips on super glue. What I'm using here is industrial grade super glue, so I don't want to stick my hands to it. Nasty stuff. Ambrose was driving force in setting up. There you go. I did remember something right. Well done, brain. Right, so what I'll do is I'm going to get these gummed up, their bases gummed up. Let me just break these sprues down. That's a question. Does anybody know anywhere that does recycling of plastic sprues? I think I heard that Games Workshop were starting to do it. But does anybody else do it? Or do recycling centres do them? And can they go in the plastic bin? There's a question for you. That's your homework for tonight. Where's the fun in not gluing your fingers together? We've all been there. It's true. Let me just break this lot down. Just like to get rid of these sprues when I can, if I can. And then break them up as well so they're not so big in the bin. Right, that's all them. These here. It's part of the joy, indeed it is. Sticking them together. So I've still got tons and tons of figures left over. And that's including from that full company and quite a few supports. I haven't done the machine guns yet, but there's about 4 or 5 machine guns in there. People make sprue goo and cast with it. Oh, okay, yeah, it's a good idea. I thought the idea was to stick the sprues into the blender and turn them into base cards. Yes, in fact, yes. Good point. You've just reminded me, John. Buy a blender and recycle them into rubbish. There you go. Sorry, Jonas, you did tell me that before. We had a whole discussion about it and I've completely forgotten. Right. But how much rubble am I going to need? I've already got a Stalingrad army. It's covered in rubble. Right. 41 people watching. This is record breaking. It must be down to you, Dom, so thanks a million. You should pause your podcast more often. Right, so I'm just going to do these now, these bases, and then I think I will call it a night. Rubble's a great idea. Yeah, it is. It's good for urban warfare. How much rubble? Yes. Yeah, when I did my Stalingrad figures several years ago. They were originally for rapid fire, but I use them in all sorts now. Used them recently in O Group, in fact. All those are covered in rubble, but it was a rubble mix that I'd made. And I can't remember for the life of me how I made it, which is annoying. But I've still got tons of it left, so I don't need to remember yet. Drywall paste. This stuff, it's fast working, quick drying interior filler. This is just from Wilco. It's their cheap stuff. Polyfiller, basically. Do you remember the old days when everyone used to use Tetrion? We were talking about that on Twitter the other day. Every wargamer in the world used Tetrion. Those were the days. This is basically the same stuff, but about half the price. How much rubble, how long's a piece of string? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was thinking about revisiting my factory buildings and stuff. I've got the old, do you remember the old JR Miniatures factory buildings? I've got a lot of their Stalingrad range. Not all of them. I think they could do with a bit of TLC, or either getting rid of and getting some new ones in 3D printed ones. But I don't know who does good factory buildings in 3D prints. It's probably about time that I just bought myself a 3D printer, isn't it, really? And buy their stuff. Okay. Sorry to be a pesky, just don't worry about it. I'm doing a live stream. You're here to pester me, and it's fine. I used to use Drywall Spackle, but recently we're using GW texture paste. That's cost prohibitive. Yeah, this is a hell of a lot cheaper than the Games Workshop stuff. But yeah, basically it's in America it's called Spackle, but it's the same stuff. I do it, but then I just paint it brown. Flat earth, and then I just cover it in flock, so it ends up looking like that. I know some people like to have that like half stony, half grass look, but my table isn't that, so I don't do it. Where are we at? You swore by the foreground soul, the stuff foreground soul. Of course, that's all gone. Yeah, I don't mind. Don't mind the MDF stuff, but it sometimes needs a bit of work, like covering joints up and stuff. Didn't I have a 3D printer coming? Yes, I did, but it went all quiet and it never showed up. That was from my My Mini Factory. No, it never showed up, and so I think after over a year, I don't think it's happening, is it? At this point. If you take some filler, spread it out thin on some plastic card. Once it dries, smack it into bits. Makes brilliant rubble. It's a good idea. It's a very good idea. Looks good to you and easy. Yeah, easy is the key. 100%. If it ain't easy, I'm not doing it. Ready-made polyfiller from Poundland works well. Yeah, and it's cheap. This is from Wilco, Terry. So yeah, same kind of stuff. I mean, it is. It's just the same. It's exactly the same material in it. Use basing glue with model sand. Sand grout is cost-effective option too. Yeah. There's many ways. There are as many ways as there are wargamers for doing bases, which is always nice. And it's whatever your preferred way, isn't it? This is a bit of an old school way, I think, really, but it works for me, and that's all that matters. Right. On that note, if you thought to go pick your wife up from work, you have to keep an eye out on the next stream and harass me more. You're more than welcome, buddy. I hope she doesn't give you too much hammer. Blame me. Oops. Easily done. Right, let's get these done. Let's get them finished. How's everybody else's painting going on? All right? Anybody finished anything yet? Or is it just they're just soldering on, tinkering away while I talk rubbish. I'm sorry, this bit's a bit quiet because I'm semi-concentrating because I don't want to get crap all over these figures while I'm doing it. Which is never a good thing, is it? Effing German Y straps, they're horrible, aren't they? I hate them. Just get the smallest brush you can. Speaking of wives, I think that's probably mine. Undercoating, yay! Finished. You haven't started yet. Just say good night to my wife. Load more boxes underway. You'll have them all finished, won't you? Just finish your 10mm WSS French Battalion. Moving on to 1700 Naval next. Any recommendations for a decent brush on primer? Good question. If anybody else has got any? I've kind of got to a point where I've stopped using primer. I don't even bother with it. I just I prime the figures in their basic uniform colour. So these I use English uniform for these. So I'll just literally paint them in English uniform and then work from there. I've not seen a single issue with it. Oh yeah, soldiering on, move to a German 50mm mortar team. Good. Staining flat toothpicks, brown and grey. Excellent. Painting FJ camouflage. Good. No, just found that the floats for the HE9 are missing. Celta Ross. Okay. ACK interactive primers. They do white, black and dark brown. There you go. Yeah, if I was using, if I was doing primers, I'd probably use a spray, a rattle can. But yeah, I'd try to avoid them these days if I can. Can't be bothered. It's an extra step. And I know that's heresy for some people. Their air or brush on. Ah, there you go. Either or. Then sometimes I do prime. You know, depends how which way the wind is blowing that day. But I've never found, so far, I've never found a difference. The PSC still makes 15mm Soviet heavy weapons teams. No, I don't think they ever did they? PSC. I think it's one of the things that's missing out of their catalogue. They only ever did the infantry and summer uniforms, and they didn't have, as far as I remember, they'd never done Soviet heavy weapons, not Second World War ones anyway. I could be wrong, but I would have thought that I would have got a box of them if they had done them, because I was buying everything from PSC when they, about 10 years ago, whenever they released anything. And I don't remember seeing it. 50mm Lanchnek command stands. Fancy stuff. Halford's car primer sprays. Yeah, they're the ones I would probably go for, Dom, if I was praying. Rattle can fine, but sometimes don't want to be messing about. Well, yeah, if you're only doing a couple, yeah. Halford's primer is good. Yeah, that's understandable. Well, in that case, I'd just use whatever. I'd use a Vallejo paint, like a grey or a white or black or brown or pink or whatever. Because no matter what Ken says, it doesn't matter. It makes zero difference. Doing 1/72. And in 15mm. I'll have to check. I didn't realise they did them. Maybe they never did them in 15mm, which is why I missed them. They probably do modern support weapons in 15mm. Just to annoy me. Use Tamiya spray on anything metal. Used to use Citadel smelly primer a long way back. Brush prime, use Wilco spray primer for most. There you go. Right, just got a couple more of these fellas to do. And I'm going to go back and watch a bit more Community, I think. That's what I've been doing of late, rewatching Community. It's very funny. You've always wondered why PSC's 15 and 20 weren't identical. Might just be down to tooling them and doing the molds for them, maybe. But yeah, you would have thought you could do one and the other quite easily. You would have thought that because everything was done on computer-aided design, wasn't it, in CAD, so you shrink it or make it bigger. Or maybe they just didn't have the money to do a second set of tooling, so they just went for the one that sold the most. But then that doesn't make sense because they've done loads of other tooling as well. Right, last one now. Bugs you as well. Cheapo car primer. There you go. There's Rich, he's the same. If you use cheap primer from Proper Job, £4 from Proper Job, £4 a tin, matte grey, black and white. Yeah, I sometimes get mine from the range, or again from Wilco. Wilco do primers, rattle can stuff. Yeah, it's an individual choice, isn't it? Like I say, if I was you though, James, I'd prime them in the basic uniform colour. Whatever it is you're painting. And then paint everything else on top of that. You might have to give it a couple of coats, but that's only like priming it anyway. and I prefer stuff like browns for as organic, a bit of an organic primer as well. Far less stark than black or white. Right. Here we go. Last couple. The last couple of seconds. There we go. All done. Nearly. Right. That's them done. And I think I'm going to sign off there. It's now nearly 9 o'clock. Nearly time for my bed. I didn't have a great sleep last night, so I'm going to try and make up for it tonight. So, thanks y'all for tuning in. Here's Simon. Do they have a proper job? Well, the company, country. Thanks everyone for tuning in. That's been one of my most successful live streams. So I hope you've all enjoyed it. I enjoyed it as well. Had a good crack, good laugh. What was I going to say? I've got a video coming out at the end of the week, which is a quick strike video, but you'll have to wait and see what it is on Friday. That's coming out, so look out for that. I do have another. I've got a big box full of stuff coming to me that I know about, which you're gonna keep quiet about until I've made a video about it. But you'll be able to see that soon enough. But so keep an eye out on that. And I'll say once again, cheers everybody. Thanks for being coming on board. It's been good. Another cracking one. I'll probably do another. Try to do these live streams every week if you haven't been, but if you haven't been in before. So tune in again next week, and thanks a million everybody, and I shall see you on the flip side.